I'm Jachym Jerie and I'm from Switzerland. And I spent 2.5 years at the YMAA Retreat Center, which was founded by Dr. Young. And the single purpose of the center, as far as I was aware, was to preserve traditional Chinese martial arts. Because traditionally you would spend about a decade with a master, but you don't have this kind of depth anymore. And so Dr. Young decided he wants to put up the center and he wants to recreate kind of more of the traditional setting so that you can train to the level that they were training at. It's actually interesting because I started with karate first. So that's kind of the first introduction that I got into martial arts. But I didn't stick with it because I got injured a lot. It kind of vanished for a bit, and then in my teenage years it came out again. And a friend, he actually started it, and he was like, oh, I'm doing this martial arts. And I'm like, oh my God, martial arts. It always was somewhere in the background that I wanted to do that. And so when my friend went, I was like, okay, I'll come and I'll check it out. And I'll just go once a week, right? And so that once a week became twice and thrice and 4 times. And soon I was 5 times or 6 times just training. And for me personally, it was a bit of a lifesaver in a way, because in my teenage years I was more depressed and unhappy, and lots of thinking about society and I don't want to be here and all of that. So a bit of neurotic head, and martial arts helped me to focus on what's present now. Because if you don't focus on what's present now, you're gonna get hit. It's very simple, right? So you can't be thinking all the time. It's impossible. And so for me, it helped me kind of from this head just bring it to the body and be more present. And so I think that was kind of a healing, or kind of something that really was appealing to me. Was kind of almost a, how do you say, an escape in a way. How I ended up at the retreat center in California was that I was training those 5-6 times a week at this dojo, and the teacher mentored this center that accepts students. It's a 10-year program, and you can apply for it. And I was like, wow, that sounds amazing. And again, it's partly because I didn't know what to do, and I was not happy with the choices that were presented to me. I didn't want to go down the traditional route of just studying. This is something different. This is something that you really focus on, and there's just not the aspect of physical. There's the physical and there's the spiritual as well. You're meditating, and I thought, okay, I can also study a bit on the side, so maybe I have some of the intellectual as well. 2 or 3 weeks that I stayed there to apply and to see whether I fit and all of that. And afterwards I was like, yeah, let's do it. A typical day is I'll probably get up at like 5:50. Get out of bed, just get myself to the gazebo where we do the meditation, which you have to be there at 6. You have to be there at 6. If you're late, the door's going to be locked and you're going to get punished afterwards. So you got to be there at 6. So I didn't miss a single meditation. 6 to 7, we are meditating as a group together, and then from 7 till 8, we had Qigong practice, warm up and Qigong practice. 9 to 11 was Tai Chi, and so there was the first learning kind of the form. Tai Chi ball was included there as well. Pushing hands was included as well. Partner exercises, because Tai Chi really is a martial arts, so, and a very effective and deadly one. And then at the beginning, the first about 6 months, maybe a bit more, was conditioning. So at 2, you get your weight vest and you go down the hill, and you have to run it back up, and you build up to 50 pounds. So at the end, you're gonna have 50 pounds, and you gotta run up in a certain amount of time. You arrive up there, you get a short break, and then it's jumping practice. And then there was other conditionings that was happening, like with the staff or for the wrist. So you get wrist strength, so you can do the staff, the gripping strength. We had cinder blocks, and you would flip them and do certain things with them. And later on, that got replaced then with actual practice, like sequences and this kind of thing. But at the end, then at around 6 p.m. you have sparring practice. So after you're totally exhausted, you got to get in the ring basically, and you fight. The way it made me think about martial arts was the whole physical aspect, right? You got to have a strong body. You got to take care of your body. You got to have a strong body. That's the foundation. But especially in traditional Chinese martial arts, that's just one layer. And then you have the energy layer, which is the Qigong practice. Feeling people's energy in a way. And especially if you do something like pushing hands and you have your eyes closed and you do that, you really feel the person, and you feel the slightest movement. And that's really where it's at. Your eyes are too slow. So that sensing is much faster. And so kind of developing that was very, very interesting, and that's something I didn't have before in my other practice. It was, yes, you did the sparring and all of that, but it wasn't this kind of depth of sensing and feeling someone. And so that was something that became new. In general, I thought there's something about martial arts that's very spiritual in a way. You're training this, and one day your life is depending on it. The spirit you bring to the practice is very, very different. And even at the center, the spirit I brought to the practice, or we brought to the practice, was very different than in any kind of dojo that I was before. Because you're there, and you're gonna train. And you're gonna train hard, because this is your life. And you really push each other. And so I guess there's this, it's hard, the word I would say, there's this spirit in there. There's a spirit and a focus in there which I haven't found in that way in other things. So martial arts has kind of shaped me in a way, and in my view, there's a transference of skills. That's something that's really important. The whole body language. If you do sparring, you see the smallest changes. You have to see the smallest changes, or at least sense them, because it's very fast, right? And so that stayed with me as well in my practice of working with people. Is this kind of sensing and feeling where people are at, the fire, the spirit. So if you're in a martial arts, in a fighting situation, you have to be able to raise your spirit. You might be in a corner, you might get hit or whatever. You have to be able to really hone down like a laser, and it's literally like it's a fire in you, where you're just not gonna back down. You're gonna go, and you're gonna look into the danger. You're not gonna blink. You're just gonna be right there, right on the edge. You gotta be fully present. And so that's something that has stayed with me as well, that if any kind of situation requires something like that, that's in me, and I can come forward. And it's not as much in the whether I fight or not, it's in life, that you can rely on yourself, and you can trust that you can raise your spirit and be there.